Haku, Sakura, Neji, Shikamaru, and Lee stood outside the emergency wing of the hospital. Inside, a handful of medics were attempting to patch Hinata together after the damage taken fighting Kido Maru. Choji was being checked out by another medic, as well as members from his clan. Kiba was already set to be released, as his injuries were far less severe compared to them. As for Naruto, he was being seen by Tsunade personally. His cousin, Karen, who had been in the hospital, was asked to follow, but no one knew why. Naruto's injuries appeared to be less worrisome than Hinata's, but upon inspection, Tsunade rushed him away, fear visible in her eyes. Seeing that in the eyes of the Hokage put everyone on edge, Haku most of all. The group collectively turned as Gaara and his siblings appeared from the briefing they had sent to the Sand Village. "Any news?" Gaara asked Haku. She shook her head, continuing to pace back and forth. Everyone seemed downcast. Not only had their teammates suffered major injuries, but their mission was also a failure. By now, Sasuke was in the presence of Orochimaru, and none of them could do anything about it. Naruto was the only person who could have stopped him. Everyone collectively held their breaths as a nurse walked through the doors, Kiba and Akamaru following slowly. "Hinata Hyuga has been stabilized and should pull through. Choji Akamichi shall return to full strength within a few days. Lastly, Kina Inuzuka shall need a day's rest before returning to active duty." A collective sigh rang through the hall, Haku the only one whose heart still raced. "And Naruto?" They all saw the hint of hatred in the nurse's eyes when she heard his name. He's still being seen by Tsunade. The nurse walked off, Lee helping Kiba to sit down. "Do you want me to help you home?" Kiba shook his head. "I just need to rest a bit. That Sakon guy really toyed with me," he replied as Akamaru jumped onto his lap. "Well, what do we do now? Just give up on the Uchiha coming back?" Kankuro grunted. Shikamaru scoffed. "Clearly you don't know us well enough." Tamari chuckled. "What, you're interested in going after him again?" Shikamaru smirked. "Nope, but I'll get dragged in anyway." "Agreed," Neji added. "I personally have little interest in Sasuke, but if I know Naruto, we'll all be dragged into helping him, whether we want to or not." "That's where you're wrong," Gaara stated, folding his arms. "If you know Naruto, then you also know he won't ask for help, and likely deny any that's given. He may have allowed you to help during this mission, but once he hears how bad each of you were injured, he won't allow it to happen again." Sakura and Haku didn't say a word, knowing Gaara's words were true. The others didn't know him as well as they did. "That's if he ever gets out of the hospital," Kiba growled. "You still hate him? After everything he did to stop Sasuke?" Haku asked, staring directly at the Inuzuka. Kiba tensed at her piercing gaze. "We could have died. Of course I'm angry about that." "I can assure you, Haku, Kiba Inuzuka doesn't hate Naruto," Gaara added. "How do you know?" Kiba spat. "Because like Naruto, I know what true hatred looks like. Remember, I am also a Jinchuriki. Your eyes do not hold the same thoughts others do. You may still fear what he is, but you do not hate him for it." Kiba looked away, unable to reply. Deep down, he was beginning to realize Gaara was right. The group turned once more as Tsunade appeared in the doorway. She was breathing deeply, her exhaustion visible. "Is Naruto gonna be alright?" Haku asked frantically. Tsunade nodded slowly. "He will pull through." "Can you tell us what his condition was?" Gaara asked. "He used what I assume was an experimental technique, a Rasengan infused with wind chakra." "Rasengan? What technique is that?" Tamari asked. "It was used by the 4th Hokage," Sakura whispered in reply. The fourth Hokage? How did Naruto get his hands on a ninjutsu like that? Kiba mused aloud. Lord Jiraiya has been training him since the Chunin exams, Gaara added. Regardless, he combined it with wind style, Tsunade continued. Adding elemental energy to the Rasengan was thought to be impossible by the fourth Hokage. However, it would seem Naruto has been able to pull it off with his unique ability. And what would that be? Kankuro inquired. Tsunade paused, Haku and Sakura nodding to each other. The Yuki spoke. Some of you might already know, but since birth, Naruto has had an unnatural affinity for all 5 chakra natures. With this, he's even capable of using Kekkei Genkai elements. Neji's eyes narrowed. No wonder he was able to use your ice style during our fight in the Chunin exams. He also used this pink fire. Scorch style, I believe he called it. Haku nodded. He kept it a secret for the same reason he kept his identity as a Jinchuriki a secret. People find out, and they'll come for him. That idiot. How many more secrets does he have? Kiba grumbled. At least one, Shikamaru yawned. Of course you know about it. Back on topic, Tsunade said loudly. Naruto's experimental technique covered him in microcuts along his entire body. They'll heal on their own, but their effects are the big issue. The tiny blades of wind tore through his chakra network, particularly the arm holding the Rasengan. If any more power had been put into it, the result would have permanently damaged his chakra system. But you could heal it, right? Haku asked. Tsunade frowned. The chakra system is the hardest part of the body to repair. Hell, Lee's surgery was easier. Fortunately, like I said, the damage wasn't that severe. Normal chakra flow will fix Naruto, given enough time. But he'll certainly find it harder to mold his chakra at first. Not only that, but his arm will likely be paralyzed for several days, while his muscles regenerate. The Nine-Tails chakra will speed up the process, but the fact remains. If Naruto uses that wind-style Rasengan again, he will no longer be able to use chakra. The hall was filled with deafening silence. Not even Haku could form a look of dismay. Sakura stared at her feet, the others everywhere but their fellow shinobi. Sakura, Haku, go to him. He will want Team 7 there. Karin is already waiting. The rest of you, go home and rest. The mission report can wait until tomorrow. Slowly, the group filed out of the hospital, Gaara and his siblings watching them leave. The 3 of you are welcome to stay, Tsunade added. Gaara nodded in thanks. Temari, Kankuro, I will stay here, for now. His siblings rested a hand on his shoulder before leaving as well. Tsunade looked at the young man. Despite his lack of visible emotion, she could tell something was swirling through his mind. Hidden Leaf Hospital, 6 hours later. Naruto's eyes fluttered open, and the first thing he felt was pain. Numbing pain. It was as if his entire body was being charged with electricity, and the lightning was still swirling through him. It took a moment to realize his chakra network wasn't responding. He could barely twist his head, and the rest of his body was frozen stiff. He felt a hand squeeze his own. His blurry vision could make out dark hair and green Haori. Across the room was 2 more figures, one with red hair, the other pink. It took a few moments for his eyes to adjust, only to see that all 3 girls were nodding off, eyes half closed. The moon had arisen, the only light coming from the single lantern on the nightstand. How long have I been out? What happened after me and Sasuke collided? This is the hospital. Kakashi-sensei must have reached us. But did I win? Did I stop Sasuke? He glanced around the room. His bed was the only one. Above the door was a sign reading, "Emergency Ward." I must have been hurt bad without the Ninetales healing me. In fact, it seems like it's not awake. That might be because my chakra network is down, Naruto thought. His head slowly turned again as Sakura began to stir. Karen, whose head rested against her shoulder, was the first to bolt up in surprise. "You're awake!" Haku raised her head immediately, throwing her arms around Naruto before he could utter a word. His mouth was dry, letting out a hoarse whisper. "What happened?" Sakura looked away, somber. "Kakashi-sensei and Haku found you unconscious in the Valley of the End. Sasuke had recovered from your battle, and Kabuto had appeared to help him. Before Kakashi-sensei could stop him, a masked man appeared, the one who took the last Mizukage in Three Tails. Kakashi-sensei forced him to retreat, but Sasuke got away." Naruto stared at Sakura in silence. Haku's firm embrace the only thing stopping the tears of frustration. The four merely sat in silence before Haku pulled herself off Naruto. The four merely sat in silence before Haku pulled herself off Naruto. "How are you feeling?" she asked. Naruto blinked. "I'll be okay." "Have they sent more people after Sasuke?" "By now he's rendezvoused with Orochimaru. We stand no chance of finding him now," Sakura answered shakily. "Right now you need to rest," Haku insisted. Naruto grimaced. "How can I rest? I failed. I promised you I would bring him back." Sakura shook her head. No. We will bring him back. Just not today." "You need to rest, Naruto," Karen pleaded. "Tsunade said that was the best thing to do right now. My healing bite isn't able to heal your chakra network without risking further damage. You need to rest." Naruto blinked, looking away from his cousin. He couldn't bear to look at any of them. No matter what they said, he failed. He could never forgive himself for that. But Sakura is right. Now, all I can do is get stronger. Next time we meet, I will bring Sasuke back. I won't let him take his revenge. Not like this. Not through Orochimaru. Naruto tried to move once again, but to no avail. Haku saw his struggle, gently pressing him against the bed. "Listen to us. Rest. Now." Naruto looked at Haku with slight shock. She rarely spoke so firmly. In fact, it wasn't until now he fully realized she was here. Upon realizing this, he couldn't help but let a thin smile form. "Okay, I will. Thank you." He looked to Sakura. "If you see the others, tell them I said thank you, and that I'm sorry." Sakura nodded, slowly turning to leave the hospital. Naruto looked back to Karen. "Thank you as well, Karen. But you don't need to keep using your power, even for me." Karen looked away, holding back tears of happiness. "I know, but I can't promise I'll listen." Both Uzumaki chuckled, Karen leaving shortly after. Finally, Naruto and Haku were left alone. The flames within the lantern shook from the night breeze. "You're going to have to go back again, won't you?" the blonde asked. Haku nodded slowly. "I'll wait until you've recovered. That way we'll have some time to catch up." Naruto smiled, causing Haku to smile as well. "Thank you. But once I've recovered, I'll have to start training. Pervy Sage said he might be taking me on a training trip. Where will you go?" Naruto didn't respond, since he didn't have an answer. There was no way of knowing how long it would take to catch up with Sasuke, especially with a former Sannin training him. "No matter how long it will take, I'll still be waiting. You know that," Haku stated, gazing into Naruto's ocean blue eyes. Naruto nodded, feeling his hand twitch. Haku looked down, gripping his hand tightly between her own. The two sat in silence, the moon now shining above the village. Before both knew it, the lantern had gone out, and they had slept through the night. What treated their ears that morning was a sound neither would soon forget, especially Naruto. Haku jumped to her feet, staring out the window to the street below. What she saw made her skin crawl and killing intent rise. Naruto could only watch her expression change, still held down by paralysis. The streets leading into the hospital was filled by civilians and shinobi alike, all shouting in rage. Haku swore that most of the village was here. It was hard to tell what exactly was being said, but it didn't take a genius to tell the reason for the mob. I should have expected this, Naruto muttered under his breath. Once the village found out about this, they'd finally have a reason to act against me. Naruto and his team's failure to retrieve Sasuke Uchiha spread like wildfire. And knowing Naruto was the one leading the team made all the blame fall on him. Sasuke always had a rocky reputation amongst the village, but it had done nothing but go up since the Chunin exams. In addition, no one knew Sasuke left of his own accord. It had to be that man, Danzo, the one who revealed your Jinchuriki, Haku stated through clenched teeth. Naruto frowned. He failed to convince me and Karin to create offspring months ago. I guess he's finally found a way to get back at me. How could Lady Tsunade allow this? Haku asked, unable to contain her rage. She has no proof, and Danzo has a lot of influence. Fortunately for them, the doctors and nurses were required to keep the mob out. The first reason, it was a hospital, and there were many other patients in their care. The second, if anything happened to Naruto under their watch, they would face Tsunade's wrath. Haku looked back to Naruto, the blonde struggling to raise his arm. It raised less than an inch before his strength gave out. You still need to rest, Haku stated, moving back to his side. He shook his head. I need to go out there. I need to show them. Show them what? That I'm not stopping, Naruto answered. Down on the streets, Sakura and Karin, who were on their way to the hospital, found themselves absorbed by the mob. They didn't dare speak up. Sakura was still injured from her encounter with Sasuke, and if the people realized who Karin was, violence was bound to break out. Sakura, are you in there? Sakura felt a voice inside her head. Is that you, Ino? Where are you? The rooftop, next to you. Me and some of the others came by to see Hinata, Choji, and Naruto. We saw this mob and I spotted you and Karin in the crowd. Sakura looked up, seeing Ino and the rest of her peers staring down at the mayhem. Sakura signaled to pull out 2 kunai. Ino did as she was told, Sakura weaving hand signs. She placed her hand on Karin, the two swapping places with the kunai, via a reverse body flicker. Now they saw the full scope of the mob. Most, if not the entire village, was squished into the streets, leading into the hospital. What do you think is going to happen? Lee breathed out. I doubt they'll let anyone get Naruto, Shino stated in an attempt to bring some relief to the others. So, why aren't you down there, Kiba? Shikamaru asked, everyone turning to the Inuzuka. Kiba glanced around the others, the words stuck in his throat. By now, he was the only one who hadn't come to terms with Naruto's reveal as a Jinchuriki. Even Team Guy had accepted it, and they hadn't known Naruto as well. Kiba looked away, gritting his teeth. Hating him for something he can't control is pointless. I've known Naruto a long time. He wouldn't hide something without good reason. Everyone could still tell Kiba was in conflict, but at least he was moving back to Naruto's side. Is there anything we can do? Tenten asked, her feet shifting impatiently. Other than causing a riot, unlikely, Shino stated. Also, since most of us are prominent members of respected clans, acting could negatively impact their standings with the rest of the village. Who cares about that? Karin asked in frustration. I know Hinata doesn't care about her clan's standing, and Choji probably feels the same. He's your friend, and he's my cousin. I can't just stand by and let this happen to him. Regardless, we do have an obligation, unfortunately, Neji retorted. Unless your clan approves of Naruto, we should do nothing for now. Looks like Hinata didn't get the memo, Shikamaru pointed. The hospital doors opened, Hinata limping out with the help of Choji, who was now slimmer than any of them. Bandages covered her healing shoulder as well as her forehead. When the mob saw them, their rage toward the nine-tailed fox and his host only grew. Neji frowned, sighing in defeat. I guess we have no choice now, do we? Shikamaru smirked. You really have changed. The Hyuga rolled his eyes, swiftly jumping over the crowd. Slowly, the others followed, Shikamaru motioning for Kiba to go as well. The Inuzuka cursed under his breath, following his peers. What the hell are they doing? A civilian roared. Are they siding with that demon? A shinobi asked in dismay. The crowd's rage grew more and more, the hospital staff losing ground to the horde. Please, stop, Hinata cried, her voice almost gone. Please everyone, Naruto did nothing wrong, Rock Lee shouted, his own voice drowned out. Can't you stop them with shadow possession? Tenten asked the Nara. Against this many? No way. Even if you could, it would only make things worse. They all turned as Gaara exited the hospital, his sand shaking violently. Only one person has a chance to stop this mayhem. Don't tell me, Kiba blurted out. Gaara stepped to the side, the doors swinging open once again. Out walked Haku, holding Naruto upright with the help from a clone. His feet dragged behind him, still frozen. Karin ran to take over for Haku's clone, the two girls helping Naruto move to his friends. His words could barely be heard over the mob. Thank you guys, for everything. But now I have to handle this, the blonde forced out, his body shaking. Would you stop being an idiot for once in your life? Sakura shouted, making the blonde stare in shock. We're not going anywhere. Let us help you, now if never again. You are not alone. Not anymore. Naruto smiled in acceptance. He couldn't bear to tell them how lonely he truly felt at that moment. He pushed past it, Haku and Karin helping him move closer to the mob. Everyone fell silent as his friends followed. Naruto stopped in front of the mass of people, staring into the eyes directly in front of him. Haku, Karin, let go of me. You can't walk yet, Haku stated. I have to, Naruto answered. The two reluctantly stepped back, Naruto swaying on his feet. He lifted his foot, only to feel himself fall backwards. A hand kept him upright. He twisted his head to see Hinata, pain in her expression. Naruto stopped the tears, smiling in thanks to the Hyuga. He stabilized himself, slowly walking into the crowd. They created an opening, afraid to touch both the boy and his companions. Once they made it out the other side, Naruto stopped, feeling the eyes glaring at him. Oddly, it brought a sense of ease. He swallowed, letting out a deep breath. It was now or never. I promise, I will bring Sasuke back. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, I will not rest until I keep my promise. He pointed towards the crowd. Just stand back and watch me. If you like what you just heard, consider hitting the subscribe button and bell icon to get notified about new videos. If there's a part you've missed, then check out the entire playlist on screen. If you like this story, please share it with your fellow anime lovers. Any support helps a lot. That's all for now. This is Ninja Kai, disappearing in a golden flash.